Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network. Oh my God. Do we need, just speaking of journalism, do we need that now more than ever? Holy cow. You wrote a great piece, The Urgency of Now, as Dr. King said, the fierce urgency of now. But, Stephen, I keep telling people thank you because you are one of the bright lights keeping me going. Like we're all keeping each other going now because we're all going through periods of just shock and fear and sadness and but as you point out rightly in your piece, that's what they want is for us to despair and give up, right?
Yeah, this is a time where it's really easy to, frankly, indulge ourselves in all the atrocities and the degradations and the outrages and so on. And it's not only sort of indulge ourselves in it, but also be exhausted by it, be burned out by it. And so I think the challenge is to know what's going on, pay attention, but also figure out what it motivates you to do, right? What it motivates you to say, how it leads you to figure out and what's important to you, where to prioritize your attention, who are the troubled groups, who are the ones that are
Yeah.
in danger, the vulnerable
Look
ones, how can you help? And to
look at
think about that.
look at Reverend Bud yesterday, that we played the audio from, and how
Incredible.
what happens when you model courage
Right.
instead
Yeah,
of cowardice
yeah,
right to his face. I mean,
yes,
you just said, I know there's many of us who see today as an endpoint, the demise of democracy. The inauguration of Trump is a cruel slap in the face of every lover of democracy, equality, justice, the rule of law. You said if normalizing the idea that Trump's return represents the end of democracy is a useful component of his authoritarian playbook, feelings of resignation and despair are just what the authoritarian ruler wants his opponents to experience. Giving up or believing that it is beyond our power to sustain America's democratic values and principles accelerates his success. This is anticipatory obedience. We keep talking about it, Stephen. People are bending the knee, that are
right,
obeying in advance. And
right.
yeah, and you said this is not a time for silence. This is not a time for resignation or despair. It's not a time to be cynical and insist it's all over. This is a time to gather your strength, stay engaged. This is a time to seek out guidance, to be nourished by the wisdom of others, to remember that you're not alone. Right? It's so important. You said not a time to give up. That would be a disservice to all the good people who came before us and fought for a democratic future defined by justice and equality of opportunity. I keep saying it, Stephen. We're all lifting each other up.
Yeah,
Your piece lifted me up yesterday, right?
thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you saying it. Look, I mean, it's something that we have to do. And, I mean, uh, pardoning almost 1,600 police, January 6th convicts. I mean, just a despicable act. No nuance, no recognition that there's a difference between those who sort of were nonviolent, less violent, and those who were, punishing, beating up police and so forth. The reporting is that his people were saying, let's sort of figure out who should be pardoned, who shouldn't be. And Trump just at some point just said, F it, just pardon them all.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. For
this is
those of
the
you
level
saying,
that we're dealing with
yeah,
here.
for those of you saying there were going to be any guardrails.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, our friend Rude Pennant said a hearty you to everyone who said Trump was just talking on the campaign trail. The thing about Trump is he's never talking. He is an arsonist telling you how he's going to burn
Right.
it all down,
Right.
which
Yeah.
is for
But
those
I
of us in
think,
LA right now. This is what it feels like. The people that want to
if
watch it all burn.
but if we're talking about the opposition and how we sort of defend, I mean, the reverend who, to his face sort of asked for mercy, that's sort of
Yeah.
one thing. And, he didn't hear it and later claimed that, she was a hater. That's obvious. But we all heard it. It was loud and clear, and we saw it happen. And then you had actually, I believe it was this morning, the Fraternal Order of Police condemned the pardons and specifically said, it undermines the rule of law and it devalues the sacrifices that those police officers made. Now that's an organization that endorsed Donald Trump. So, I wouldn't have put the Fraternal Order of Police being part of the opposition,
Yeah.
but here we.
Yeah. Well, as we keep saying, I think we're in the find out phase of the F around and find out pretty quickly. Um, here's one. This is one person that is, It's hard not to be cynical about some things. Cruz said the same people who said there's no way he can end birthright citizenship are the same people who said the Supreme Court would never place a president above the law by giving him broad immunity. Hashtag we are in the sunken place. I mean, I keep saying yesterday, Stephen, are there such a thing as legal experts anymore? Because yes, every legal expert, even Judge Napolitano, by the way, on Fox News, said this is unconstitutional. He can't do that. This would have been like Biden or Obama going, you know what? No more Second Amendment. Don't like it? Taking all your guns. That's a great analogy, right? I mean, you can't just pick an amendment and go, nope.
Well, no, and there's a difference between an executive order
Right.
and a law. And you know, the interesting thing is you had right away 22 states,
Yes.
22 attorneys general who were
Thank
putting
you.
out their lawsuits against this birthright citizenship effort. So, you know, it's the classic thing, you know, pay attention to the helpers, pay attention to the first responders, you
Yeah.
know, who are doing their part, and, you know, take strength from that and do what you can to support them.
Well, what we just talked about before we went to you about he rescinds Biden's, thing about prescription drugs. Like, that's just stupid, vindictive. It's stupid politically. It's like, so I think, like keep saying, Stephen, there's 75 million of us that voted for Kamala Harris. Trust me, there's going to be some effed over Trumpers coming our way. There's going to be, independents. There's going to be people that didn't vote that wake up and go, oh my God, right?
Yeah, but you know, look, there's going to be 2 years at least, you know, sort of to the midterms when, you know, however many people, you know, how much larger the will of the people may be against Trump, he's not paying attention. You know, he's not that interested in what people think. He's all about retribution. He's
Yeah.
all about serving his billionaires and their interests.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the way this is going to play. And you know, you hope that this is the this is the find out stage where actually even some of his own supporters finally grasp that he was never in it for them.
Yeah. Well, and Stephen, I was struck by two. You're someone that, obviously writes about politics for a long time now. The Substack, America, America.
Yep.
Yep.
You know, he's just when you think he could not be more petty, vindictive, mean, nasty, every adjective you want to use. I was struck by two things yesterday. First of all, like he just has zero grace, even in winning. They have no grace or he insulted Biden several times on Inauguration Day. He's like, when he signed an order, oh, you think Biden could have done that? I don't think so. They're the worst administration. He did this thing where, the letter, the presidents always leave a letter for each other in the desk. So he has to have Peter, what's his name? Ducey, asks him, Trump's like, oh, don't they leave it in the desk? He said, oh, thank you, Peter. Could have been years before we found this. Just so disrespectful. He's like, oh, he waved us saying, maybe we should all read it together. Like, just a D from the beginning to the end. And then I just thought this. So his election team welcomed the inauguration day with a tasteless attempt at trolling Joe Biden. The Trump campaign shared a spoof video that showed the Biden White House as a care home for seniors. They captioned it eviction note at 12 p.m. Eastern. The White House senior living will cease to exist. Its resident will be transferred to a Delaware facility on a permanent basis. There is going to be no point to this administration except petty vindictiveness. I mean, what?
Right. Look,
You
know,
won.
in
The
in
guys.
day after the inauguration, you know, what I focused on, at least to begin, was Elon Musk and his Nazi salute,
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
at the post-inaugural event. It was, I thought, one of the most reprehensible things I've ever seen in public life,
Yeah.
and he did it standing behind the presidential seal. And he didn't do it once; he did it twice,
Yeah.
and he didn't do it half-heartedly. He did it with, fierce dedication.
Yeah.
This is the person that Trump has exalted, allowed to ascend to this position of power right now, and I think we need to pay attention to that. I mean, I'm not saying that this is per se, the Nazi regime that's now taken over, but pay attention. We have to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I echo our friend Allison Gill. She said, I knew this all was going to happen, but nothing can really prepare you for what it feels like when the moment
Yeah.
actually arrives. That's why we need each other in our communities. I plan to turn on them a lot in the coming years. Um, that's what I was saying, Stephen, is that, I know MSNBC ratings have been way down. I hope people come back because we desperately need a liberal network. And I love people are like, oh, Steph, you're the only thing I watch now. Well, okay, I'm glad you can make certain choices within but I think there are so many fierce voices, including yours, including a lot of the folks on MSNBC. We need all of us now, right? We
I,
need
I
to
think
we need to
I
build
think
this
that
infrastructure larger, not smaller, right?
Yeah, yeah. And look, I'm not a therapist. I don't think you are either, but you know what? I think that the words that we can speak, help people to manage this time in a way that's, it's going to be emotionally complicated. It's going to take discipline. It means not giving up. It means not despairing. It means not being cynical. It means not paying attention to everything and just sort of prioritizing what to pay attention
Yeah,
to.
self-care.
Focus on what you can do. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. The
yeah,
the
and
self-care in this is important.
God in His wisdom has made my best friend a therapist. She's a brilliant psychologist, and she will join us tomorrow, Dr. Wanda.
On
Because
Friday.
yeah. Oh, sorry, Friday. Because we all are going to need that. You're right. Somebody, a trauma therapist, wrote to me was talking about this. Really does feel like your mom, divorced good dad, like the abusive ex is back. We all have to. We all are going to have to survive this.
We evicted the abuser 4 years ago. I
Right.
can't believe he's back. Right.
Right,
That's
right.
That's it.
The drunken ex that beat you is back. You're like, oh no. Stephen, keep on doing. Speaking of the Lord, keep on doing the Lord's work, and we want you back as much as we can get you.
Thank you so much, and you keep doing what you're doing.
Okay, I have nothing else to do, so got nowhere to go. Love you, Stephen.
Thanks, Stephen.
Thank you. I'm here with the incredibly handsome Dr. David Silverman to talk about ASEA Renew that I'm holding in my hand. This stuff is amazing. Revitalizing Redox gel. You hold up. You have you can it comes in drink form, and this is the gel form. I love, first of all, that supermodel Carol Alt will be promoting this. She's taken so many jobs from me, so I am so happy.
Just to give some context, because I have to tell you that this is very unique. This is not, it's not a pharmaceutical, it's not a nutritional product. It's something that our cells make. It's called redox signaling molecules. But bottom line is, our cells make redox signaling molecules. Your body makes it right now, but we all made more of it when we were younger. What's in this bottle is in you. It's in me, right? But I'll be 64 in 2 weeks, and I feel like I'm 30 years old. I've been drinking this for 13 years.
Wow, Doc, what a thrill to meet you and to hear more about this, because it's you just kind of go, oh, it works, but to hear about the why is fascinating to me. Dr. David Silverman, what a joy and a pleasure, and thank you so much.